Hey everybody, welcome back to In Bed with a Millennial. I'm the Millennial, Javeda Bay, and this is my bed. And I know it's been a minute, but I'm back, y'all. I just took some time to recalibrate, reevaluate, and figure out exactly who I am as the Millennial Sexpert, what I wanted Millennial Sexpert to be, and what kind of sex education I wanted to offer to the people. But I figured it out, at least for the time being. I have figured it out, and I'm back, bad, and nationwide. So let's get into it. During this time, I've seen a lot of misinformation on the internet, mainly like tweets and memes that are like, oh, you must bleed out of the same hole you pee out of. And like, obviously, that is not true. And it just further showed to me that y'all, most of us did not get good sex education. So I'm here to correct that, try and re-educate the masses. And so I chose to start at the beginning. We're gonna start at the very beginning with anatomy. So today we are talking all about female genitalia, aka the vulva. And today we're just focusing on the external aspects because the vulva is a lot and I don't want to overwhelm. So let's get into it. First things first, the vulva, vagina, not the same thing. Gonna get into that later. But the vulva is the entirety of female genitalia. Female because, medical science, yada, yada, yada. Gender is a social construct. The binary is a social construct. I have a lack of better words. So it is female genitalia for the sake of we have not developed another word to describe it. So what does that mean if the vulva is the entirety thing? That means there are multiple parts that make up the vulva, starting with the Mons Pubis, which is that mound that protects the vulva. It's like if we were looking for actual like phrases or like metaphors, I would say it's like a protective little, like, it's like the bodyguard, like that's what's gonna protect you from like getting softballs thrown directly at your vulva. The mound is like this protective little area, like right under your fupa, that bit where your pubic hair grows. That is the Mons Pubis. It is a great thing. It is protective. Below that, we have the all popular but still elusive clitoris, and only the external part of it, which is the clitoral hood, because as you know, the clitoris exists internally and externally, and it exists solely for pleasure. It is a beautiful thing. But you have the clitoral hood, which is very similar to a penis in that when it's not aroused, it is tucked away, nice and small, just like man in its own beeswax. But when it's aroused, it gets engorged with blood and grows and enlarges, yeah. And it gets bigger. So it's like, wow, you can get a lady boner. Yes, you can get a lady boner because the clitoris does engorge with blood when aroused. Right? It's amazing. Next up, we have the urethra. Now this, for folks that don't know, is where pee comes from. That is correct. You do not pee out of your vagina. You pee out of the urethra, which is connected to like the entirety of that whole system that produces like pee and all that jazz. So your urethra, yes, this nice tiny little hole is where pee actually exits the body from. On the sides of it, we have the Mons glands, which help to make sure you don't get UTIs, urinary tract infections, and also help in producing the fluids that are released during female ejaculation, aka squirting. I know it's mind-boggling, all these pieces that like you've probably maybe never heard of because no one actually teaches anatomy in this way because it's a vagina, but that's not true. But next up, we do have the vagina. But before we even get into the vagina, you have the vestibule, which I honestly hate that word as the description because it reminds me of church for some reason. But that is like the vaginal opening is considered the vestibule, like right there. And it's weird. I will admit it is weird. So for now, it's just the vaginal opening. Depending on the vulva you are dealing with, there may be a hymen there that you can actually see. For some people, it is not visible, which is why, though virginity is a social construct, you cannot tell if someone's a virgin because hymens are not all the same. Some of them are visible, some of them are not. Yeah, that whole thing, don't even get me started on it. But yeah, some people you can see a hymen, other people you can't, and that is a-okay and naturally normal because guess what? All vulvas are different. And another a little less known part of the vulva is going to be the Bartholin glands, which are right on the outsides of the vestibule, vaginal opening, and those actually help to produce lubrication when the person is in an aroused state. So Yo, your Bartholin Glands is how you get wet. And if you want that wop, you better drink water. Okay. And then to talk about the less elusive but like less described part of the external bits of the vulva, you have the labia. So you have the labia majora and the labia minora. I don't like those terms because all vulvas look different and some labia majoras are not as big as the labia minoras. So a lot of people have shifted to using the words inner labia and outer labia. So the outer labia are going to be the first lips that you see. So when you look at a vulva, you're like, oh, look, I see lips. Those can potentially be your outer, or if they're longer, inner labia. Your inner labia are the little lips that are right out, literally right on the sides of your vagina, vaginal opening. So depending on the way your vagina looks and is designed, your inner labia may be longer and protrude more than your outer labia, and vice versa. And guess what? That is normal, natural, and beautiful. But yes, so those are the parts of the external vulva. You've got your clitoral hood. You've got your urethra, where pee comes from. You have the vagina, where blood comes from during a period, and where things enter and where babies exit if people are birthing babies. You also have the Mons glands and the Bartholin glands, which help in lubrication and female ejaculation. And of course, you have your labia, inner and outer. Those, my friends, are the external parts of the vulva. And I hope that this was helpful and that you learned something new about vulvas today. And if not, come back next week because we're going to be talking about the internal parts of the vulva. Yes, all those internal pieces that make a vulva do the things that it does. We're getting into it. But until then, make sure you like this video. Share it with at least 2 friends. Be like, yo, I don't think you know all the parts of the vulva. So I'm going to share this with you as a teaching moment, as a learning moment. And I hope you enjoy it. And also, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you definitely check out my website, themillennialsexpert.com, because guess what? I am dropping a well-detailed blog article all about the vulva that you definitely do not want to miss. And come back next week because I'm back, I'm bad, I'm nationwide, and I'm doing this for you. I love you. I want you to learn more things. Also, if you hadn't noticed, Mama still got merch. You can get your hands on it to continuously support this free, comprehensive, inclusive sex education that I am putting out to the masses. But until then, I'm gonna see y'all later. Deuces.